Theology in 3 minutes. Topic: the Transcendental argument. Every human enterprise rests upon preconditions it does not itself create, even at the lowest fundamental level. If we cannot rely on the assumption that certain facts never change, then we cannot assume that any mechanism built upon those truths would ever be consistent enough to build it in the first place. Medicine relies on biology. Biology relies on chemistry. Chemistry relies on physics. Physics rely on universal laws and constants. The laws of logic are universal, invariant and immaterial. Mathematical truths are abstract and necessary. They do not exist within space or time, yet they all govern any rational discourse, reasoning, or discovery. But what secures the laws of physics? Why is the universe consistent and intelligible? Inductive reasoning presupposes uniformity, yet uniformity cannot be empirically proven without the circular reasoning of, it works because it's true, and it's true because it works. The scientific method rests on metaphysical commitments that it cannot itself justify. This is the crux of the transcendental argument, that existence itself is dependent upon a single force that is logical, constant, and immutable, and everything else, no matter how low or high in the logical hierarchy, is built upon this promise. It argues for what must be true first, in order for anything else to be possible at all. Atheists would argue that science doesn't require such a foundation to be true, that we could always reach logical conclusions, based merely on testable observations. This may be true at the microscale, it can systematically prove an observable thesis. But science alone is limited to immediate, observable, and material results. It is wholly inadequate to describe macro truths, or things that are unobservable or immaterial, such as moral, philosophical, or psychological truths. As is often said, science can identify the how, but not the why. Science can identify how a star is formed, but not why there's anything in existence to form it in the first place. Science can identify how life evolves, but not why the universe is set in such a way that allowed life to exist at all, let alone flourish. Science can identify what part of the brain interprets sound, but not what it means to feel the emotional tug of a well-orchestrated piece of music. And this is where the transcendental argument brings all of the other apologetic arguments together, to form the final picture from start to finish. The cosmological argument claims that the universe has a beginning. The teleological argument claims that the universe was designed for life. The consciousness argument claims that the human experience cannot be materialistically observed, but is no less true. The moral argument claims that ethics are bound to an objective morality beyond human subjectivity. Each and every one of these arguments points towards something similar. Something beyond a mere materialistic world, something without which nothing else could exist, let alone sustain itself without that fundamental cornerstone of being. And this being that they all point towards is the ontological pinnacle of all angles by which they point towards it. It is the uppermost keystone at the top of the archway that holds everything else together, an omnipresent force of being itself, existence itself, and insisting upon itself, declaring for all, simply, I am.